So let me introduce you first to the lady immediately to Ram's left, Shankari Bowmaster Goldstein now. Huh?
Let's just stick with gold.
And Shankari began her practice in yoga in 2009, and for the last 10 years, she has been a dedicated yogi in many, many areas. She served here as our guest master for a period of time, and now she oversees our group services. So some of you sitting here tonight might be here due to her dedication and hard work of telling you all about our community and encouraging you to come to one of our beautiful facilities and have your programs or retreats. She also is an accomplished musician. She has her own musical group, and she is a producer of beautiful yoga festivals all throughout Virginia and in other areas too. And she is now the mama of about 70 little animals, I think, huh? She has goats and chickens and all kinds of beautiful animals that she and her husband have, Dan, have a beautiful farm not far from the ashram in Scottsville. And they are taking care of God's little creatures there. And Shankari makes beautiful herbal mixtures to sell over in our little cafe and in Charlottesville. And she also teaches a great number of classes in Charlottesville. So we're so happy that with her busy life, she still has this beautiful dedication to being here with us in Yogaville. And next to her is Shankar Parker. Shankar first came to Yogaville in 2014 when he took his basic teacher training here. And it was so transformative to his life that he just kept coming back. And he would come and visit, and then he would come and do a little service. And finally, by 2017, he had been well hooked, and we reeled him in, and he moved here for good. And he's doing a wonderful service here. He currently serves in the Integral Yoga Academy as the academy manager, and he helps to prepare and organize all of our Integral Yoga teacher trainings. And believe you me, it is a good job, a good and a very demanding job, and he does an excellent job at it. He's also a very accomplished teacher in all the hatha levels, 1, 2, as well as restorative. So we're so grateful to have you here, Shankar. And the lady on the far end, Sumati Thorn. When I called up distribution and I said, Sumati, I would really like for you to come and be on a panel. She said, no. I said, no, I'd really like you or she said, or who? So I gave another name. She said, hold on, I'll put you right through them. So she did. So I tried to talk to them. They said, oh, no way. No, my face would turn red and my heart, blood pressure would go up. No, I can't be on any panel. I said, okay, put me back to Sumati. So I went back to Sumati and gently pleaded with her. So she was willing to participate this evening. And the thing about Sumati that many of you may not know, is that she actually started following integral yoga teachings in California many years ago. She met Sri Gurudev there. This was in the early 1970s. And she was so moved by him that when she found out that the Virginia ashram had been purchased and Lotus was underway, she moved her whole family out here so she could be close to her guru and raise her family close to this ashram. And then I think it was in 2002 when you became an actual employee at Integral Yoga Distribution. And in the midst of that, she was also an EMT. She worked for many years. Whenever someone was having a health problem, that truck would be called and she would be one of the first people, and she would come with such strength and peace that our group from Yogaville, someone said, if ever you have a heart attack, do it on Wednesday or Thursday when the Yogaville team is on. They're really the best team. So she did that wonderful service for decades, and she served many people, not only just in Yogaville, but in the whole county. And the great thing about Sumati, she's very quiet normally, and she says very few words, but she's incredibly in a state of meditation always. I've rarely seen Sumati walk into the morning meditation at 6:20, and she's a regular there. She was very shy when she first came. She sat in the back, and then one day nobody showed up, and so she had to be the leader. And ever since then, she has definitely helped out in that capacity. So we are so grateful that she dedicated her life to coming here, being with her guru. And this is part of Ram's magnificent staff. And now we will ask each one of them a question. So Ram, starting with you. Initially, what was it that drew you to the teachings of integral yoga?
Good evening, everybody. Initially, I got involved with integral yoga through Hatha yoga. I moved to New York City where, how much time do I have for this?
You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. I moved to New York City to get my master's degree, and I used to do a lot of sports to keep me somewhat sane. And I used to play tennis and soccer. And when I got to New York, I realized that it was too expensive to play indoor tennis, and there were no soccer fields unless I wanted to play soccer in cement. So I thought, what can I do in order to keep sane? I was a pretty restless individual, and I had to do something. And so I decided to take a Hatha yoga class at the university. And I did take it, and after the end of the class, I felt this great feeling of peace. And I didn't realize where it was coming from, but I continued taking it. But then the teacher who was teaching at the university left, and then after that, I looked for many years. I took classes not only in New York, but then I went to Europe, and I took classes there, and none of those classes really resonated with me or satisfied me in many ways, like the first one. And then one day someone said, why don't you try the Integral Yoga Institute on 13th Street in New York City? So I went there, and I took the Hatha yoga class. And at the end of the class, I felt this peace that I had never felt before, that it transcends any understanding. And I knew that Hatha class had affected me in more ways than just physical. It had affected me mentally, affected every molecule in my body, every cell in my body. So I said, wow, there's something to this. So I continued doing Hatha yoga, and I saw how it not only was affecting my body was becoming looser. It was releasing some emotional blocks. And, but also my mind became lighter. I saw that I was becoming less angry, less frustrated. So just through the integral yoga class, which not only incorporates the asanas, which are the postures, but also pranayama, which I think you heard tonight, and meditation, deep relaxation. So it incorporated every aspect of the individual. I noticed that. So that's how I got hooked.
Thank you very much. Shankari.
Can you hear me? Well, I think I probably came to find yoga like many of you did in this room. In 2009, I'm celebrating my 10 years of being in this spiritual journey of yoga. I was a pretty sad, depressed individual, and I really was looking for something that would heal that pain. And so I took a pilgrimage to India and Nepal in Europe and didn't even know why I picked India. And now I know why, because Guru Dev called me and yoga called me. And I was blown away by the amount of love and dedication that these people had for this practice. And, you know, and with so little that they had as far as material wealth. And here I was, this American coming in with means and an awesome book bag that I spent $300 on to go backpacking across these countries. And I was so depressed. And I went in this car with this gentleman named Vip. He drove me 10 hours across the country of India. And I remember sitting in the car just crying with him, being like, I don't know what I want, what I'm doing here, you know? And he just said, you know, Americans, you come here so often and you're looking for something and you're on this deep journey of trying to find something that is really meaningful for you. And I didn't have a religious background, so that's what I was craving, and I didn't know that at the time. And he said, I have nothing and I'm so happy. I feel so fulfilled. I have these deities and I have my breath. He said that to me, I have my breath, I have my life and my family. And so for that, I'm happy. You know, I don't need all of these other things. And when he said that to me, it was just so beautiful. And he said, you don't realize it now, but you're this little tree that's about to blossom. I can feel that. And so I came back to the States and I signed up for my first yoga class, and it happened to be an integral yoga teacher, Nitya Griffith, who's changed my life. And I took her class and I was the youngest person in the class, and I just, you know, I could move, I could do the poses. But by the end, when she would chant, it was like transformational. I said, wow, what is this? Nobody chants or says these prayers at the end of class. I go to gym classes and I said, what is this? And she said, oh, it's integral yoga. And then I kept going every week. And then there was this week of Thanksgiving where I met all these people and they said, you should go to Yogaville. And I was like, Yogaville? There's a place in Virginia with a magical flower in the middle of the country? What are you talking about? I live in Richmond. How do I not know this? And yeah, but it was a course of just so many people in 1 week telling me to go. And a week later, I drove to Yogaville on a whim and met my friend Chitra and saw a picture of Guru Dev and just bawled my eyes out in Chidambaram and really just decided that this was where I needed to be to find that wholeness and really feeling fulfilled. So that's how I initially found
Thank you so much.
integral yoga.
Shankar.
Well, I was looking for a yoga teacher training program in 2014, and a professor of mine had mentioned Yogaville very much in passing. I remember the name and was searching online, and the thing that really caught my eye, honestly, was the picture of Swami Satchidananda at Woodstock. I thought that was pretty cool. I could relate to that. This must be where hippies go to become yogis in school. Perfect. And really that feeling there was the feeling of being accepted. I thought I could go here as I was and be accepted, and I was. And this yantra is a beautiful representation of universal and total acceptance. That no matter who you are, where you come from, what your background is, what you think or believe, even if you think yoga itself is ridiculous, you're welcome. Come join us, come sit with us, come talk with us, dine with us. And that's not something that I've really experienced a lot in other places of life. And so that was a really transformative experience to come from my teacher training and feel that total acceptance and see it with other people as well. And I can continue to see it serving in the academy with our teacher training programs. So many people coming from so many different backgrounds with so many different beliefs about themselves and about their lives. And each one of them is able to find something in this ashram with these practices, with these teachings that benefits them and really touches their spirit.
Thank you very much. Sumati.
Well, my journey to being what I'd call a devotee of Swami Satchidananda was a very, very, very long journey, actually. Started in the 1970s when I was going to college. I had 2 roommates. They were both vegetarians. One taught Hatha Yoga. I wasn't interested in it at all, but I lost a bet. And my payment was to take a Hatha class. And that changed my life. It was a profound experience. It opened things that I'd known through my life. It answered events that had happened in my life up until that time. And essentially, I kind of lost my drive for worldly things. I did manage to finish my degree, but I became a seeker. I wasn't looking for a teacher. I was looking for the teachings. And I went to every lecture I could go to. I went up to the Zen Center that was up the mountain from the college. I went to retreats. I went to some Sufi meetings. Eknath Schwerin was teaching at Berkeley at the time, and he offered Wednesday night spiritual talks. And I got together with some people. We carpooled over there on Wednesday nights. There was the Meetings of the Ways back then. And I went to everything, and I kind of patchworked my own practice together, taking the best of everything. You know, I liked a little this, liked a little that. And as time went on, I realized that wasn't going to work, because a lot of the speakers, a lot of the methods were opposing. So, matter of fact, what one person said would get you someplace, the other person said you better not do, or it'll get you in trouble. And I realized I had to pick one discipline to follow. And to me, it was kind of arbitrary, to be honest with you. I thought they'd all work. So the obvious one was Eshwaran. He had, by then, he'd had a ashram started out by the coast, and the Wednesday night meetings had changed to Friday night meetings in my own town. But every time I thought, oh, that's who I'll follow, it just didn't feel right. And then I had this very vivid dream where I was getting into a Cadillac convertible.
Right.
Gurudev was the driver. And as we took off down the road, I turned around and looked back. Eshwaran was waving goodbye. So I decided, well, I'm going to do integral yoga. And I quit all my shopping around for everything. I said, integral yoga is it. Gurudev would talk in Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, San Francisco. I'd go to all those. I went to retreats. And then when I found that the Lotus was going to be in Virginia instead of Santa Barbara, I took the first opportunity to come over here. And I had another defining moment not too long after I got here. And that happened, well, first let me tell you, when I was very young, I looked out a window, and I mean like less than 10, and I saw the most inspiring, overwhelming, heart-stopping sunset. And as such things do, it very rapidly dissipated away. And from then on, I became a sunset watcher. I would stop what I was doing. I'd go outside for sunsets. On occasion, I'd get people to stop the car. Let's wait till the sunset. And when I got older, I'd drive out to the coast. Now it's West Coast. I'd drive out to the coast, walk up and down the beach, and wait for the sunset. Nothing ever came close to that until when I was here and Gurudev unveiled the yantra. And right in the middle of it was that sunset I had been searching for all those years. Om Shanti.
Whoa. Thank you very much.
So it's okay to lose a bet then.
We'll vote at the end. You still have another set of questions. Okay, the next question we would like to ask is, having engaged in various aspects of integral yoga over these years, what is it that currently, of the teachings or the practices, that serves you the best on your spiritual journey, at this point in your spiritual journey?
Who are you
And-
asking?
Yeah, well, why don't we'll start with the two younger one, and then we'll move out to the wisdom on the ends. So, Shankar, why don't we start with you?
Great. All right. So, honestly, I think there's so many aspects to the teachings and the practice that I really enjoy and connect with. I think the thing that really keeps my spark of enthusiasm going is actually the different people that come and visit the ashram so regularly, particularly the lights and ashram yogis, and serving in the academy. I see a lot of participants for teacher training programs, and the enthusiasm that they come with constantly revives my own feeling of excitement and enthusiasm about the practices. That I think with pretty much any endeavor that you undertake, it's easy to get to a point where it becomes normal or unexciting, or you kind of lose that spark. And being able to be around people constantly coming in with their eyes wide and bright and very excited about everything they're learning and experiencing, it's really easy to pick up on that and to continually be re-inspired by the people coming here and experiencing the beautiful things that there are to experience.
That's great. That would be all of you out here, huh? Shankari?
Yeah, I just need 10 words, and that's truth is one, paths are many. Do good, be good, love all, serve all. That's all I need. And I think that right now we're living in such a polarizing time. You know, you're in this beautiful 700 acres of vibration, and then to Gurudev's point, you go out and there's this noise, right? And all of these things that you have to deal with. It's such an intense time in the world. And so when I think about these messages that he gave us, you know, on the side of the altars here and on the Lotus Temple, that's how I live in my practice as a contemporary yogi. How can I be in the space of all of this noise and respond instead of react, and breathe and learn to be present? I think being able to witness your actions, your breath, your response to things is really powerful. It's a really powerful tool with yoga. So that's the greatest joy, and it's currently what I'm working with, is just witnessing and being aware of what this gift is that we get with yoga, and how to breathe through that noise.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Sumati?
Meditation. And recently I decided I would memorize the Guru Gita,
Ah,
which uses a lot of time when you're driving and stuff,
uh-huh.
but meditation.
And have you read all those books over in Integral Yoga Distribution?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Ram?
So specifically, what's the question again?
Yeah, at this point in your spiritual journey,
Yeah.
which of the teachings or practices serve you the most?
Okay. It's pretty much the same as when I got started. One of the things that Gurudev used to say often that that really resonated with me and has helped me is it's all his name, it's all his form, and it's all for good. And the thing that I try to keep all the time is to keep my peace. And there's a lot of things that can disturb my peace. But eventually, no matter what I do, I can try meditation, hatha yoga, and they usually work. But sometimes I just don't understand what's happening. And then I have to, and then I resort always, it's all his name, it's all his form, and it's all for good. And especially the last part, it's all for good. Because the mind tends to get into a negative pattern. My mind tends to get into a negative pattern sometimes, especially with dealing with so many people. And then I always turn to, and I always think, what's going to happen here? This is not going to work out. But I remember if it's all for good, then it shifts the mind in order that my attitude is different. And I get away from all that negative energy and I focus on the good. And that maintains my peace. So keeping my peace is the most important thing, has been all along. And we get tested all the time. And by using the precepts of integral yoga, that helps me keep my peace, because I know that if I lose my peace, I'm really not serving anybody. I become a nuisance to people. So by keeping my peace, at least I'm not being a nuisance. That's a minimum. And I can do a lot of good by keeping my peace while other people are losing it too. So and it allows me to be in the present moment. Because when you lose your peace, you're really not in the present moment. You're worried about something in the past or in the future. And by being in the present moment, I enjoy being in this life.
Thank you all for so eloquently sharing your journeys with us.